I picked up this Chevy Blazer 4x4 the other day from my local box store. I like the casting, but not really keen on the wheels, especially the red lines. It almost seems like they were an afterthought. So I wanted to customize this Blazer and switch the wheels out with something more appropriate. I also wanted to muddy the model up a bit, give it more of an off-road look. I'm also going to leave the police tampos in place, as I find that putting mud over the tampos really adds to the realism of a casting. Also, adding mud to any casting can hide parts of the cheaper casting and make it look more like a higher-end casting, something you might see from a Greenlight or M2. For example, in this model, we'll use the mud to hide the interior plastic from being seen from behind the wheels. Speaking of the wheels, I'll be using wheels from a Tomica forklift casting that was broken. What I like about these wheels is the fact that they are about half the width of Hot Wheels wheels. This also lends to the realism, as Hot Wheels wheels always tend to be too thick. I've already taken the car apart, and now I'm mixing up some mud. In this case, I'm mixing a tan color with a darker gray color. To thicken the paint up, I'll add pigment. This pigment comes in military paint and weathering sets from Vallejo. I will add the pigment, but I won't mix the paint. This is because I want the paint to be a little bit chunky. The more pigment you add, the chunkier the paint will get. For this first coat, I just want a slightly chunky paint. Since a lot of my viewers don't have an airbrush, I'm going to show this next technique with a can of duster air. You won't have as much of the control that you can get from an airbrush, but you can still get great results with these cans of air. What we're going to do is apply some splatter effects using a brush and a can of air. I brought in a small paper plate to showcase how this is done. The process is relatively easy. You load up the brush with paint, place the brush a couple inches from your target, and then spray the can of air through the brush. The paint comes off the brush in small droplets and splatters directly against the target. The more air you apply, the more particles are thrown against the target. So now I'll apply this effect to all the parts of the 4x4 I want to muddy up. Alright, so now we have the first coat all done. The next step is to add more of the pigment. This will give us an extra chunky paint. We'll now apply this paint with a brush in areas where there would be a lot of mud buildup, places like around the wheel wells and the tires. This mud coat is what brings the entire effect to life. It gives it a 3D feel, so take your time and really think where the mud would go if you were to really take this 4x4 mudding. After you're done, put the model aside to dry. I find that the paint is thick enough on these models that there's no need to clear coat over them. However, if you do feel like the paint may be coming off, then you can go ahead and clear coat with Tester's matte clear coat. Also, if you want the mud to take on a fresh, wet look, then simply spray some Tester's glossy clear coat in a plastic cup and then paint it onto the mud. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this very simple custom. Mud effects are fun and can make a mundane casting interesting if done correctly. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.